Welcome to another episode of Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view, with my co-host Lloyd Mendenhall. Say hi, Lloyd.
Hi, Lloyd. Oh, hi, Art.
Well, today is show number 35, and it's
Wow.
the post-Thanksgiving show. So no guest tonight. So we're going to touch on a few topics. We had that terror attack in London. Some guy went nutso and started stabbing people. But he was taken out by the police, which I was kind of surprised. Police have guns over there. I thought they. But somebody mentioned that it was probably their version of the SWAT team that showed up.
It was. Yeah. They have what they call the specialized weapons teams, and in which they have to go through all sorts of special training, and they're issued guns
Right.
at the beginning and the end of the shift, or if they're going on a call, or they're sitting in preparedness for something to happen, they have their guns with them and they can respond rather rapidly.
Well,
But
that's
otherwise, most their uh,
Bobby.
90% of their police officers do not
Yeah.
carry guns. It's just the way it is.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
But
been like that for many, many years.
oh yeah, they've. I'm trying to think when the police over there quit carrying guns. It's probably the '60s,
Yeah,
maybe.
that sounds about
Yeah,
right. Mhm.
yeah. It's in the '60s. I'm trying to think because they did away with guns. They did it away with the death penalty. They did away with uh, and now they've done away with free speech. So
Yeah,
they're
well, that's because they're a monarchy. They're so-called constitutional monarchy.
yeah.
They don't have free speech. They don't have uh, um, property rights.
Right.
They don't have no Second Amendment. So yeah, several years ago, a friend of mine in the comedy world, she lives over in Holland, and
Uh-huh.
she was giving me crap about the Republicans and the Second Amendment, and I said, "Well, you guys don't have a Second Amendment." Oh yeah, blah blah blah. And I'm like going, but they kind of have a quasi version of the Second Amendment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's for hunting, but
Well, yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't have any self protection.
No. No. And it just goes to show you that in this case of this London attack, I did read about that. I was like, I actually, believe it or not, it wasn't. Oh, there's Mitch has joined the chat.
Here,
All right.
welcome,
Yeah.
welcome, Mitch.
Yeah. I was reading a little bit about it, and this is before I even knew you were going to talk about it. And this guy attacked with a knife. You know,
Mhm.
and one of the people that was injured was one of the guys that actually was trying to take him out. He was
Uh-huh.
uh they got to get several people got together, and they tried to take him down. I'm not sure. I'm not sure the timeline from where they were, because the guy that uh, Queen Elizabeth said they were heroes because they tried to fight back,
Right.
and I'm not sure at what point the police came and shot him, because I think they were just about to have him subdued when the police came along. So I don't know if they all stepped back and say, now you can execute, or what. I don't know what they did over there.
There you go.
you know. Uh, but when I said they don't have free speech, uh, of course, this happened in London,
Right.
and I find it ironic that this guy had been a terrorist. He'd been arrested, been sent to prison, then was released and started all over, you
Right.
know. And
Mhm.
it just so happens his last name is the same as the mayor of London.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they're both named Khan. So,
Oh, okay.
Genghis and all of his cohorts, all of his kinfolk.
Yep.
I'm, not that every, but, and that's really a, you know, blanket thing.
Yeah.
But, there, when you look at Hindustan and Pakistan, and when it was one country under India,
Yeah.
under the when it was part of the empire.
Right.
You had most of the people that were Khans were had the last name Khan are Arabs, and it's still that way. They're are not Arab, but they're Muslims, and uh, so, and this guy he was one of the jihadists. And
Right.
when I say they don't have free speech, they've been going around and grooming their young men and raping girls over there. And there was 4 terrorists that were arrested for this.
Right.
And while they were on trial, one of the guys involved to help bring him to justice was he was a pro England. He was a right wing conservative that was pro England, and he spoke out against him, and they arrested him for speaking out against the people that were on trial.
Oh boy.
And then he was put in a prison, and he's anti-Islam, and he was put in a prison that predominantly houses nothing but
Oh boy.
Muslims.
That's like putting a pedophile in the general public. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same way in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's no free speech there. You can't speak out about what's going on with Islam, and
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a one-sided free speech.
yeah.
They can say what they want about us.
Mhm.
And welcome, Steve. They can say what they want about us, but or Christians or agnostics or atheists or Jews or the Hebrew religion is where I meant to go with that.
Yeah.
But they can't. But you can't dare speak against Islam.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And
That's right. I don't know. Do you know who Mark Stein is?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He used to live in Canada. I'm not sure if he still does, but I believe he was a Kiwi who moved to Canada, and
Right.
and he was writing and making speeches about Islam, and he got arrested. He had to go to court, and he finally just said, I've had enough of this," and he moved to the States.
Yeah.
Like Trevor Loudon, who we had on a while
Right.
ago.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Matter of fact, doesn't he sit in for Rush Limbaugh on occasion?
He does. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's who I thought you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a young lady that oh my God, I'm subscribed to her channel.
Oh yeah.
British, and
Is that
what is?
Gabriel somebody?
Yeah, she's a real sharp young lady,
Yeah.
and she actually cannot go back to England because she's been classified as a terrorist because she interviewed the guy that I said that they put in prison.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Chris Hope, how you doing?
Yeah. Oh, Chris Hope. I know Steve Carpenter is in the.
Yeah, Chris just popped in.
Oh, great.
And but yeah, and so she can't go back. She can't go back to. She can't go to Canada either,
Yeah.
because she did the interview in Canada before, and met up with him in Canada,
Right.
and then he went back to the UK, and then all that. His wife and family, they don't even know if he's alive.
Wow.
It's this is like. I mean, this is like, it's hard to believe in that. I hate to say it, but the Queen has lost all her power. I mean, at some point, I think, if it's a monarchy,
Only
even
a
though it's
figurehead in her country.
yeah, she is, and
Mhm.
and the Prime Minister has. I'm gonna kill that dog. Hang on a second.
Oh, we can't read your lips.
Yeah, I know. Oh, she's annoying. It's. Oh, I know why I can't hear my wife. She knocked the camera over in her room last night and I forgot to pick it up and put it in place.
No.
But yeah, uh, so she's banned from going to the UK, but man, she is a sharp young lady.
Right. I'm gonna look up her name.
Yeah, I because she's somebody. If you want to see somebody who's interesting to watch, she's got such an insight for such a young person, you know. And uh, I I catch her live every so often, so
Yeah.
she does a lot of live stuff.
Oh, maybe
And
no, not. I'm trying to think if I.
yeah, let me see if I can find her.
Oh, I think it's something Gabriel is her name.
Uh,
Uh, maybe
uh,
somebody in the chat might know
yeah,
who.
if anybody would know it, it'd probably be Steve. So Steve, if you know who I'm talking about, she's a British.
Yeah, it's Bridget Gabriel.
Bridget Gabriel. Yeah, yeah.
Yep, she's originally from Lebanon, and she lives here in the States. And she's the one that had that conference down in Texas where the two jihadists tried to shoot up the place and they
No,
were
I don't
instantly
know.
killed outside.
That's what that might. Yeah, she's the one, but she's one of them. But she's not the one I'm referring to.
Oh, okay.
The
Okay.
one I'm referring to is she's a little blonde. She's your typical blonde haired, blue eyed little British gal, and she
Oh,
looks like she's about 22,
oh, what?
but
Wow.
she's a lot older than that. Oh, I'm going to have to find who that is. I will by next week. I will have it.
Okay.
But yeah, now this one here, yeah, I know who she is too. She's also very, uh, but I'm trying to
Yeah,
see if
and she's from the Middle East. She
right, right.
knows firsthand about that because for many years Lebanon was a Christian nation
Yeah, yeah,
until the 80s when they had the big civil war, and when
right.
the Muslims won, they
Oh,
pushed all the Christians out of the country. My boss, Tony Zackham, and his uncle Sam Zackham, they're from Lebanon. They're Christians,
right.
and Sam Zackham was a state senator here in Colorado back in the 70s, and he was ambassador to Bahrain during the Reagan administration.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. There was, well, look at Jamie Farr and
Yeah,
Danny Thomas, two of
Danny
the most
Thomas.
famous, Christian Lebanon. The St. Jude's Hospital.
Yeah, that's right.
That was, that was both Danny Thomas and
Marlo Thomas.
Jamie Farr.
Oh, Jim.
Yeah, they both
Yeah.
big supporters of that, and of course Marlo Thomas.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're Lebanese.
Yep, that's right.
But yeah, I knew a couple. Uh, two different times, I knew two different gals that were both Lebanese, and they were just. I knew one that was Lebanese and one that was Iranian, and uh, they were just the nicest people.
Right.
And then the uh, funny thing, a TV series that we watch out of Canada, it's called the Murdoch Mysteries, and it's right at the turn of the last century. It starts out, I think the series starts out like 1896 and it goes
Right.
through like 1901 or '02.
Right.
And he's a detective that he's a lot like Sherlock Holmes. But he does investigative type stuff, and he's with the Toronto Police Department
Yeah.
or constabulary, and they were dealing with a couple of different things, and one of them was like Winston Churchill.
Right.
He went on a bender and he didn't remember anything. And his friend that he was partying with there in Toronto uh, ends up dead in the room they had, you know,
Oh boy.
with a sword that has his fingerprints all over. It turns out it was a, this is the term they used, and this show was well. I think it ran up and well, it ran up until this year. I don't know if it's the end of the series or not, but they're called Mohammedans.
Oh, okay.
Those were the extreme Islamists. We call them
Yeah.
Islamists now, but they were called Mohammedans, you know,
Hmm.
because they were followers of Muhammad. And that's how they separated those, like one guy, he says, yeah, I'm a Mohammedan, but I'm not an extremist. He says, I'm Egyptian. He says, I'm a Nile Arab, you know. So it was interesting to hear because they try to, uh, uh, they try to uh,
Start a
give you
caliphate.
historical. Yeah, well, they try to give you some history behind some of this stuff. So
Okay.
they're covering, because they're still technically at this point they're still part of the British Empire. You know,
Mhm.
uh, they
And
had,
that was before the Muslim Brotherhood, which
oh
started
yeah,
in 28.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. This was back when the Ottoman Turks were still around. I'm gonna kill her. She just, I don't know what's wrong with her. She's just,
Excited?
I guess I don't know. Well, the leaves are blowing in the backyard and they think it's something on an attack. I don't know. They're
Oh,
stupid. They got a brain about that big.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, that's right.
at least with my big dog, when he comes in, he's got a brain about that big because I swear to God, that dog has a 50-pound skull. He lays down on the foot of the bed and he lays his head over. I can't move my feet. I mean, they literally like having a boulder sitting on them.
Well,
Anyway,
Steve Carpenter says his grandpa immigrated to America from Lebanon. Huh,
yeah, that's what
interesting.
yeah, I thought he might be. Steve told me he's got quite a background and uh, uh, he's I enjoy. I've talked with you've talked with him too, but
Yeah,
he's got a real immigration story in his life, in his family, you
right.
know, and how they didn't get to come through Ellis Island because they already had too many of his nationality
Oh, yeah,
here, and they had to go to Mexico and wait out their time until they could come across.
right.
And his mother was born in Mexico,
Oh,
so.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Speaking of Mexico,
Yeah,
uh, what's this? Trump's declaring or calling the cartels terrorist,
yeah,
and
yeah. That
Mexico doesn't like that.
you would think that they would. Well, yeah, come and help us, clean this up, But I think it's uh, anything that Trump likes, they're against.
Yeah,
That's what the mentality is.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
they're all mad. Oh, he wants to build a wall, and it's like, well, if you take care of your people, they wouldn't be coming here. But the other thing is, they come here and they send our money back to Mexico, and Mexico's going, hey, this is good for us. We're
yeah,
getting rid of all the unemployed people, and they're sending money to us.
yeah, yeah. Uh, I don't know. If you look if you can look into the future, I see that at some point we may end up having to go to war against both. Canada. I don't, I don't know if there'd be much of a war there, but Mexico, they've got the drug cartels.
Yeah,
Although Canada has a lot of the Islamist people,
yeah,
uh,
that's true. That's true.
and,
But you
uh,
got to remember, Canada is only 35 million people.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Where
so
Mexico is pretty close to 200 million people.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I suspect that that's where our problem is going to lie, is in the South.
Hmm.
You know, uh, I don't know if it'll happen in our lifetime, but I'm sure in one of these days, we're going to have to deal with Mexico, and
Right.
because it's getting like, uh, oh, what was that guy? My mind has gone blank.
Noriega,
Pancho Villa. No, Pancho Villa. This,
Pancho
these
Villa.
these guys
Yeah.
are coming across the border like Pancho Villa used to do.
Yep.
And
Oh yeah, and they are doing it.
yeah,
Steve said his grandparents came from Lebanon through Cuba,
Cuba,
then
then to Mexico.
Mexico. Took them 13 years.
Years.
Wow.
Yeah,
Along with a job waiting and a sponsor.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that's the way immigrants used to have to come in here.
yeah,
They used to have to have a viable uh means of
skill.
living.
Yeah.
They had to have a skill. Yeah,
Yep.
a skill set.
Hmm.
Now it's just like whatever.
Hmm. Yeah, that's right. Just sneak in, and after a few, oh well, we won't send you back. You're a citizen, or you're a quasi citizen.
Right.
You get
And
to you get to vote too.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing that really gets me about a lot of this is, back when I was a kid, you know, uh if you didn't knuckle down and, do your schooling right, you're going to grow up to be a ditch digger. Like that was a
Yeah.
bad thing.
Yep.
The problem is ditch digging now is you're using excavation equipment,
Yep.
uh, but we don't have anybody that does general labor anymore. It's all specialized,
Right.
or we get
Or
illegal immigrants to come in and do that job because none of us want. We want to be paid $15 an hour for doing a high schooler's job of flipping hamburgers and call
right.
it a career, you know?
Hmm.
Or we got a factory here in town that makes toilet paper. These guys get paid $24 an hour on
I need
average,
a job there.
you know, and they turn around and they get triple time on if they work Christmas Day, or if they work Thanksgiving Day,
Yeah.
or 4th of July weekend, if they get a 4-day weekend out of that, and that's they do these rotations, and
Right.
they do uh 12 hours, and I forgot, 28-day rotation, so
Right.
many days on and so many days off.
Right.
Out of 28 days, they're off 14.
Oh boy.
It's spread out. They have one section there, they get one full week off out of every
Wow.
28 days, and they're paid this ridiculous amount of money. And for what I say, they're making butt wipe paper, and they're making
Yeah.
that kind of money, and yet we got cops that are barely making what they do at McDonald's in
Yeah.
some of these small towns,
Yep.
and these small towns have to take what they can get. That's why you got these cops, you know. They get scared the first time somebody, looks at them wrong, and they shoot them, and then we got these bad cops because there's no money for training.
Yep.
There's no money for vetting these guys.
Right.
Oklahoma's got a pretty stringent. They Every cop that carries a gun in Oklahoma has to pass a what is it, MMPI? Yeah, which is
Right.
anyway, it's a psychological test. And it's
Right.
pretty tense one, but they can work like 3 months before they have to go through their training. Before they
Wow.
have to go through their state training.
Hmm.
And yeah, his first job was $1.25 an hour and nothing for overtime. My first job, I got paid 90 cents an hour.
Wow. I think
You know,
my first job, I think I was making around $5 an hour, and this is in the late '70s. I had a job at the high school. I worked maybe an hour a day or something like that in the attendance office
oh
because we needed somebody to, you know, and this is how I got to find out where everybody lived because I had to send out the attendance forms out to each kid's parents who missed so many days, and I'm like,
right,
oh, that's where so and so lives.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Well,
did you do that as a student?
uh, no, I actually got paid, and I was a student there. I think I was a junior in high school then. Yeah,
Yeah, we had people that did that. They didn't get paid, or if they did, I didn't know about it, and I would have volunteered for it myself.
yeah, mhm, yep,
Yeah, we had people that took care of attendance, and stuff like that. But uh, they were, just office assistants, and they were just
yep.
nice.
Yeah, it was a paid
Counsel.
position, and it gave you some building up your work history,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
was good. Yeah.
that's
Uh-huh.
cool.
Yeah. So speaking of wages, on January 1st, the minimum wage in Denver is going up to 12.44 an hour.
12.44 an hour.
And
Okay.
in a year from now, after that, it'll go up to 15 and
Ah,
change. Then by 2022, it'll be 17 and change.
and by
So they're
2024,
going to
everybody will
kill
be
their
probably
economy.
on welfare.
Yeah, it's going to get to a point where people are going to get laid off and everything will be automated. And then you'll have all these people living in Denver who don't have a job or they're working two or three jobs.
Well, that's the way it is. I mean, I I'll give you an example. Okay, I go over to my local grocery store,
Right,
and they have 4 checkout lines.
right,
2 of them only have some. There's more than 4, but they have 4 attended checkout lines.
right.
Then they've got 15 kiosk type.
Yep,
Self-serving.
yeah.
And there's always there's Mason Keyser.
Oh,
Or Kaiser.
Mason,
I'm not
welcome.
sure how to.
I
I
think
see
it's
the word
I,
key, and I think it's Kaiser. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, but anyways, uh, so there's always somebody there. Some nice young lady says, "Would you like to use a self checkout? I'll help you with it." And I said, "Nope, I'll wait in line."
Yeah.
But it's so much faster. Yes, it is. But
Hmm.
that person's getting paid to work,
Hmm.
and I want to make sure that they earn their keep.
Well, yeah,
And
that's
she says, but these are just so much faster, and I'll help you. I said, ma'am, I can use it. I just refuse to, because each one of those machines is one less employee that's working at this store. And eventually everybody's going to know how to use those new machines well enough
hmm
that you won't have a job either. She goes, oh. I
well,
said, yeah, you're being
mm-hmm.
replaced.
Hmm.
These used to
Yeah.
all have people working here. Now it's just a bunch of machines and half the employees,
Uh-huh.
because the cost of having an employee went up. With
Yep.
Obamacare,
Hmm.
minimum wage going up.
Yep.
All of these different things that the government has required. Now these companies, in order to make any profit at all, and they can't do it. They're not a nonprofit organization, so they've
Right.
got to make a profit.
That's
People say
true.
profits are bad. Well, this is a capitalist country, not
Mm.
communist.
Yep.
And all of
That's
those
true.
people, they're being replaced by those machines. So I refuse
Hmm.
to use them.
Yep. Yeah. And this is my theory on how the Democrats are, you know, taking away the tax breaks that Trump gave us a few years ago. By saying, "Well, by God, we're going to fix them. We'll we'll raise the minimum wage because Trump gave them extra money." And then the companies are like going, "Well, you're raising our costs, and we replace these people, and then there's fewer and fewer people working at the same company, putting out the same amount of product, but at a lower cost."
Yeah, yeah, and
And,
that's it.
mhm,
They've I saw. Well, going back to that show in Canada, they were showing some of this. They had an inventors convention on this, and they were showing how they were modernizing things, and I'm sitting there looking at it, and they try to base this stuff off of things that went through the patent office and stuff, and they show what it looks like, on the set, and it was, you look at it and then you look at what we have now and you're going, oh, okay,
Yep.
that's where that idea came from. And there, even at the turn of the century, at the World's Fairs and stuff like that,
Mhm.
there, people were talking then about, we're going to be replaced by machines. Well, it's getting that way. Eventually we're going to be like those guys with the big heads and brains that sit around and can't lift a finger, like on that Star Trek.
Yep. Mhm.
Unfortunately, some of the people we got, these young people, they don't have the brain cells
Mhm.
for it. That's another thing. I know I'm hogging the show, Art. Sorry.
Yeah, well, you bring up some really good points. Somebody in the chat said, "How about gas station attendants?" Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that went away in the '70s, right after the oil embargo, and the
Right.
price of fuel went way up. And
Yeah.
well, the gas stations, we can't afford to have a. Why do we need a gas station attendant?
Yeah.
We'll just self-serve, and people will get a 5 or 10 cent discount if they pump it
Yeah.
themselves. Now, uh, basically all those gas stations, unless you live in Oregon, where they still have gas station attendants
Wow. Yeah.
because it's the law.
Oh. Okay. Really? Wow.
So
I
yeah,
did not know that. Yeah, I actually did that at one point when I was working. When I was still in the service, and I got a job with part of Phillips Petroleum at Phillips 66 gas station. It was called Waylo. It was their generic.
oh,
Everything we had said we sold Phillips 66 tires. We sold Phillips 66 oil. We everything said, the only thing was a sign out there said Waylo because we were supposed to be cheaper. We were way high. But anyways, we had this little old lady come in one time, and she, I was an evening manager, and well, I was the assistant manager at this place,
right.
and uh, so I was expected to do anything the manager would do, and apparently the manager in the past had been kind of spoiling this little old lady, and she was eccentric, and she had lots of money. She bought a new Cadillac every 3 years,
Wow.
and yeah, and but she was an annoying old woman.
Oh
Like,
boy.
oh my God. But she come in and she says, it was, I think it was coming into spring. And she says, well, I'm here to have my air changed.
Oh God. Oh, I
Excuse
used to.
me? She says,
Yeah,
yeah, in
I
my
gotta put
tires.
my spring air in. Yeah, change the winter air. Oh
Yeah.
God, she fell for that. Oh,
Yeah.
that's like, oh, I need my blinker fluid changed.
Yeah. Well, she believed it. She truly believed she was widowed, and she believed she had to get the air changed. So I said, all right, ma'am, pull it over here and I'll take care of it. And I go out there and I was keeping an eye on I walk out there with my little tire gauge, and I got the hose and pull out there, and, I press the little button and go, psst, 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 a little bit. And then I hit it with some more air, hit it some more. Let me get it changed. I did that to all 4 tires. And she says, oh, thank you so much. You're the only one who will really wait on me. I don't understand these other people. I said, well, I'm in the military, so you know, it probably comes with some of that. And she said, that's probably it. And she was just thought I was the sweetest old, she was just sweetest little old guy she ever met. I was just the sweetest young man. And she was such a dear old lady. She was a pain in the ass. But, she ended up giving me,
The
I was the only one,
non-focus show.
uh, she gave me a Christmas card with a $50 bill in it.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Wow.
Boss gave me a $200 bonus. This was in the 70s.
Oh,
Oh my
that's a
God.
lot of
That was
money
a lot
back then.
of freaking money.
Oh
And
man.
I was the only one who had ever done that for her. And
Oh
he said,
boy.
"You do?" I said, "I went out there and pressed it with the tire gauge and put a little more air in it." I said, "So technically, I didn't lie to her. I did change the old air and put in new air."
Oh man, that is
But that was part of my job as a gas station attendant, you know. And yeah,
all right. Switching gears here. Now it looks like the Republicans are going to be calling witnesses in the impeachment circus. Hearing. Um, they're going to call up Adam Shiff. He's I guess, the chairman of the judiciary there. So
right.
that will be interesting to see how that goes. See how the Democrats are going to say, "I object. Oh, the witness doesn't blah 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 blah."
Well, I heard at one point that the Democrats were starting to really waver on this,
Yeah.
and that they were considering just doing censure on the president.
Oh boy.
You know, like
Yeah.
because they're at a point so far that, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard anything about it for about a week and a half. As it,
Well, they're on vacation
they're
right
on
now.
vacation. Okay, yeah, yeah, because I mean it's just been dead in the water ever since I think when they closed down for the holiday weekend.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think they're starting to get nervous. They're going, this is
well,
starting to not
we're a,
look too good for us.
we're a month away from the new year. You know, and a month from today it'll be 2020, and that's when the campaigns really start getting
Yep,
serious,
yep.
because was the end of January is when the first primary.
Yeah, either the end of January or early February. I know here in Colorado we'll have our caucus meeting where we all go and you know we sign up for the caucus and then we decide, okay, who wants to be a delegate or an alternate to the different assemblies. Well, we have the county assembly, we have the state assembly, we have the congressional assembly, and then there, well, of course, this is a presidential election. There's, oh, we got to send delegates to the that, and I kind of want to go to that because just to say, hey, I went to the 2020 presidential election and I got to shake the president's hand or something like that. That would be cool. And then
I got a
kind of
crit.
hop out with some of the other big shots there.
Well, maybe you could maybe you could get the Donald to come on our show. Wouldn't that
Oh,
be a coup?
oh God, that would blow up this channel so quickly.
Oh yeah, I can
Well,
see
that,
how.
Mitch was talking about the other day when I had him on my impromptu live streams this week that Dan Bongino, uh, he did interview show, and one of the first guests was Donald Trump, the president.
Oh wow,
And then
yeah,
he had Don Jr. on the following week. And I'm like, oh wow,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that would just
That would,
blow the channel
yeah,
up. I mean, the subscriptions would be like, wow, we're up to 100,000 in just a few hours.
yeah, 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 and that would be when they shut down your. They
Yeah,
decide that your channel
okay,
wasn't
not viable, not
commercially
viable.
viable.
You
Yeah,
don't follow COPA. Blah, 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 blah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mike Roach, welcome to the show.
Oh,
All
I didn't. Sorry, guys, I've been kind of rambling on as usual,
right.
and yeah. Plus, in case you guys didn't notice, I don't have my glasses. I usually have to put my glasses on to read the
Right.
chat,
Mhm.
and I left them in the other room. I came in here to get ready to set up, and it's like, oh, okay. And then I thought, why can't I see this? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I forgot my. I looked on the camera and like, oh crap.
Well, and plus there's no glare from your glasses today.
Yeah,
So
that's true too. Yeah, 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 At least you guys know I'm not reading a script.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this will be a pretty interesting year. We'll see how all of this stuff. I am in the process of trying to get Congressman Ken Buck on the show, and he's on the Judiciary Committee, so that would be interesting to get him on. I have his email address, and I've worked with his secretary before when he was running for Senate way back in the about 10 years ago. And I had him on my internet radio show called Arts Place. Uh, so this was back when he was still a district attorney up in Weld County,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
running for U.S. Senate, and was defeated by Michael Bennett.
Oh, okay.
And, and he kind of, well, he blew up on Face the Nation where they had a gotcha question,
Oh,
and that
yeah.
and that's what tanked his campaign because he was doing really good. He was like neck and neck with Michael Bennett and Steve Mack. Welcome to the show. Sorry, Steve, no candy giveaway today.
Yeah, Steve, you were lucky. I couldn't type fast enough, and I was on my iPad. Well, and then I found out I don't know what was going on, but my iPad was not even receiving properly.
Oh,
It was locking up, and finally it was like that. And even our television, which we watch a lot of, uh, we use the Amazon Fire Stick or
right,
whatever they
right,
call that.
right.
Yeah. Anyways, and it was having some problem. I kept looking, everything looked good, but I couldn't get my iPad to work right. And finally, today before I
Oh,
you use
Steve,
copy and paste, yeah, yeah. Well, and you can't. That's the problem using an iPad.
yeah,
You
you
can't
can't
copy
really
and
do
paste.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So, well, you're gonna love that candy. I grew up. I grew up in Denver until I was 14, almost 15. And we moved to Grand Junction. Oh my God! Somebody told us about. Well, actually, that was back in the days when they had welcome wagons.
yeah.
And one of the things that they put in a basket, they'd bring you a basket. The Grand Junction Chamber of Commerce would send out somebody with the welcome wagon, and they'd drive up and they'd bring you a basket of uh,
Okay.
locally made stuff. And one of those things was the Instrum's chocolate, and like or the almond toffee. It's like, oh
Yeah.
my God!
Mhm.
And a couple of years ago, Judy surprised me and ordered me 2 pounds of that stuff.
Oh
Uh,
boy.
oh yeah, and I had no clue. I knew she'd ordered something, but I had no clue what it was. And my daughter-in-law had helped her order it online, and that's what I got. So,
Yeah.
and
You need to
man,
sedate that dog, Lloyd.
do what?
Sedate your dog.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to do something. I don't know why
Uh,
barking at the back. Well, leaves are blowing. Like I said, it's just crazy
oh,
right
it's a
now.
pretty
Yeah,
windy day. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. My parents had two little dogs, and they would just go nuts. Anybody going, but just going by the house, they go. "Brr, brr, brr."
yep.
So we had to put a barrier so they couldn't get in the living room to look out the window and see what was going
That dog could hear a mosquito fart from a
on.
mile away and would bark at it.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, she's annoying, but she's old. She's almost, well, she's 11 years old now. Yeah, so
That is
uh,
real.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she's young for compared to a lot of them because I think that most of ours died I think the youngest one was 15, and we've had them live
Wow.
up to 18, almost nine. I think our Boston, she was almost 19 years old.
Wow.
Well,
I
she was,
like Boston Terriers. They're
yeah,
so cute.
they
And
are cute, but oh my God, they can clear a room. They have this,
oh yeah.
and it is just terrible.
Uh, Labs are pretty bad too.
Yeah, labs are too.
Oh God. I remember when we first moved back to Denver, we got invited to Thanksgiving or a dinner with one of our old neighbors that we had before we moved to Michigan.
Right.
And we're, having a nice dinner, and all of a sudden, it wasn't me. It was their dog underneath the table just letting one go. And it was
Yeah, there's just nothing you can do about it. Everybody looks around and is like,
like, okay,
oh,
yeah,
yeah, it takes your breath away. Yeah, yeah. But, oh, yeah, Boston's are bad about that.
yeah. Oh,
But,
Frenchies are really cute too.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, uh, uh, that's where the Bostons come from. They're bred off they're originally, I'm not sure what I used to know all that, but I don't
yeah.
remember it anymore.
Well, it's an English bulldog and something else.
French bull, yeah. I know they had the French bulldog and something that might be the English.
Yeah,
But yeah, because French
or
bulldogs are,
there's pugs.
yeah,
Pugs are kind of cute too.
yeah, they are. Yeah,
Yeah. But the problem, I don't know how we got on dogs.
my dog.
Problem with short snout dogs is they snore.
Yeah, oh
And
yeah,
my parents had Lhasa Apsus and Shih Tzus,
yeah,
and boy, did they snore for little dogs.
yeah, they do. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
All right, so we beat dogs. I mean, no, I mean the topic of dogs. We don't
Right.
beat dogs, but we talked about that wages.
Well, we were talking about Adam Shift, and that's just naturally slide into
Hmm. Yep.
dogs.
So yeah, yeah. With his little bug eyes, he kind of looks like
A chihuahua.
Barney. You
Yeah,
know,
Barney Fife. Yeah,
Don Knotts.
yeah, yeah. He does look like Don Knotts. Yeah, but well, I guess if you took what he said serious, it wouldn't be funny. But if you just listen to what he says, he's just about as funny as Barney Fife was.
Yeah.
Or Don Knotts, I should say. Yeah,
It just amazes me how these people get elected, and then I figure, oh God, there's Democrats. There are people that just automatically just vote for them. Party line. We do it as Republicans, but at least we try to vet our candidates and put
yeah.
quality candidates
Well,
out. But
he's from Hollywood. I mean,
oh,
that's his
Hollywood
district.
years.
You know, and right there, you know,
Yeah.
that explains everything.
Oh, and how about that guy Nader? Or
Oh,
Nader?
oh,
Nader.
yeah,
The guy
yeah,
with he likes to wear his pants all the way up to his, almost up to here. He's got the 13-inch zipper on his pants,
yeah. It's
You seen that guy?
yes, I have, and it's like, oh my god. I'm trying to think who he reminds me of. I can't think who it was now, but yeah,
Yeah, kind of a Fred Mertz mashup.
yeah, 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 yeah. Somebody like that. That's who I was thinking. The way he wore his, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Those I still say that. Well, first off, I don't think they're going to vote for impeachment, and if they do, of course, I think I'm sure it will come back to bite them.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
but should it ever go as far as the Senate and all that, I uh, uh, honestly think it'll be challenged in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, because there's no crime that was committed. You
yeah,
gotta have crime, but there is. We don't like him, so we want to impeach him.
yeah. That's another thing. We talk about the checks and balances. Okay, you've got the three different. You've got the House and Senate.
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
and you have the judiciary. Which is the Supreme Court, and then you have the
Executive.
president executive. Thank you.
Hmm.
And they're supposed to balance it, but in this, This is just one branch against another.
Hmm.
You know,
Yep.
the legislative against the executive. And to me, that's not a check or balance. That's just a, it can be just what it is now. It's a political thing. And I think that's why I say before there's got to be some, and I haven't studied it, but I'm sure that somewhere the Supreme Court has to step in, in order to side on
Right.
one side or the other of this, because I just, well, we've never had, it's never gone to the Senate. It's gone to the Senate, but no president has ever been voted to be removed from office.
Right. Hmm.
And so I think at some point the judiciary is going to have to step in and say something about this,
Yep.
because otherwise the triangle of checks and balances doesn't work. This is just one, the legislative against the executive, you
Hmm.
know, and it leaves the judiciary out of it. And I don't think,
Hmm.
well, to be honest with you, most of those idiots in the Congress wouldn't
Well,
know how to do anything
I get,
judiciously, anyways.
get kicked out of the Democrats saying, "Well, he can't sign an executive order. He's not king." And all we have to do is go. Let's go back to the Wayback Machine, back to the Obama administration.
Who
Where,
signed more executive orders than anybody? I think.
hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and
That's
that's the problem. They have not taught, you know, they've not taught
they
government
don't teach civics anymore.
civics. Yeah, civics. That was what I was. They don't
Yeah.
teach civics anymore. Which explains this. This is where you learn this stuff, and when they no longer teach this,
Hmm.
uh, you get these uneducated morons being elected into Congress. You know,
Hmm.
I mean,
Or
like
the people,
OCD or whatever her name is.
yeah, and they oh boy. There was one of our drone friends posted on Facebook how, well, the Electoral College is racist. And I'm like, going, and this guy, well, I'm not going to name him. A lot of you know
Yeah,
who we're talking about. He posts stuff, and it's like, all we have to do is, okay, where's his source? Oh, CNN. Oh, MSNBC, Newsweek,
yeah,
Time.
yeah,
No, oh, yeah, they're credible sources.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
I don't see how in. I mean, how can that even be racist? I mean,
I,
it just.
well, those, I think their argument is, well, they were slave owners, so it must be racist.
Well,
Eh,
here's the thing. The reason they did this is because we didn't have electricity, or
That too. Well,
you know, we didn't have any way to. We didn't even have telegraphs at that time when this was all started. They had to have people sent, to deliver the votes from
right.
that district,
Hmm.
and that's where the electoral college came from. That and the fact that they assumed that most of these outlying areas would vote somebody who was, maybe
Company.
he was a squire of the little village or the area, like Daniel Boone's father, Squire Boone, somebody along that line that was educated or a man of respect, or
Right.
somebody who was a little higher, even though we as a
Higher
republic,
standards, higher up. Yeah.
yeah, we tried to do away with the feudal system, but we still have, you know, little of that in there.
Well, because we're a republic, and that's what
Very
we got
public,
to
exactly.
tell. We're not a democracy.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
but the electoral college reason we have that is to keep the most populous states from having all
overpowering.
control over who is our next president. And also, you got to think of it as this way: it is 51 different elections for
Yeah,
president, and
yeah,
that counts. And the founders did it that way. So the most populous states like Virginia and New York, they wouldn't be choosing who our new president is.
yeah, yeah,
Otherwise, if we did national popular vote, it'd be three states would be electing our president:
yeah,
California, uh, the upper Midwest, Michigan, Illinois, uh,
Yeah.
and the Northeast, New York and
Well,
in that area.
if we didn't have the electoral college, it would be just like it is there in Colorado. You got Denver, and then you got the rest of Colorado.
Hmm.
And Denver makes the decisions, for the whole state,
Yeah, pretty much.
just because of their population and because of, you know, all the outlying. And when I say Denver, I mean the suburbs,
Yeah,
Arvada,
the metropolitan area.
Inglewood, all of those areas. They're all part of the Denver metroplex,
Hmm.
and they make the decisions for the rest of the state. It takes everything. I mean, when I moved to Grand Junction, that was one of the biggest things is they hated Denver because
Oh yeah.
Denver, the or the eastern slope, made all the decisions and they had no clue what was going on
Mhm.
in the western slope. Of course, now uh, I think Grand Junction has gotten just about as bad. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Mhm.
I know I was part of a petition because they uh, uh, they were getting ready to change the. Everybody has a memory as a kid. You have this strip that you ran.
Yeah.
As a in your cars when you're 16 years old. It's where you cruised.
Oh
And
yeah.
North Avenue was the place everybody cruised at the time. Well, it's
Mhm.
kind of gone downhill, and as the town has moved out, and Mesa University of Colorado Mesa, I think is what it's called, uh, Mesa campus.
Yeah.
They wanted to change that to College Boulevard,
Ah.
and they donated a whole bunch of money to the city council to do it.
Mhm.
But the business owners that still had businesses there were going to have to change all of their information, their tax
Yeah.
IDs, and it was going to cost a fortune. They weren't offering to help them,
Yeah.
you know. They were going to have to change all of their business application from
Yep.
North Avenue to College Boulevard.
Yep.
So,
And all their advertising and
yeah,
their
everything.
uh, business
Yep,
cards and stationery and
exactly. It was going to cost a fortune for some of these small businesses. Some of them are just, they're unique, one of a kind things that they offer, and that's all there is. Well,
yeah.
they were going to either have to move, which is going to cost, or it just all sorts of problems. And
Mhm.
uh, I got some of the guys that I went to high school with, they set up, North Avenue forever, and we fought them and we won.
Oh,
I consider I was part of it because I was getting, I like my son's mother-in-law, her sister lives in Grand Junction, and so I told her about it. Actually, her sister was out visiting and I told her about it. So from Muskogee, Oklahoma, to all the way back to Grand Junction and she actually lived in Michigan, but her daughter still lived
right.
in Grand Junction. So she got hold of all of her daughter and her grandkids, and
Right.
they all signed the petition.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
you know, that's what happens when a community pulls together and decides
Right.
we've had enough. And that's what happened.
Mhm. Yep.
And that's that's what we have to do here too, you know. But that's why we have the electoral college, because you got one group of people
Mhm.
making all the decisions, and it takes the rest of the people to come together and say, not quite so fast,
That's
you know.
right. Mhm.
So
And now we're going to shift to Hong Kong. They just recently had elections there, and guess what happened? The democratic or democracy won over the communists. So it'll be interesting to see if the communists, the government will let them be autonomous or say, we didn't really mean you could have an election. We were just kind of just making you feel
yeah, yeah, just a little
good.
pat on the head, say it'd be good,
Nice
you know.
try, but
Yeah,
you're still with us, and
we just
anybody
want
who,
you to know what it would feel like if we ever chose to do it that way.
yeah, yeah. So if you
As a
commit a crime, you're going to be extradited to the mainland to stand
Yeah,
trial.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
here's
like that's going to be fair.
right. exactly. Well, they did have a huge. Now, this I saw this morning. I had no idea you were going to be talking about Hong Kong, but they had a huge uh,
Demonstration.
demonstration, and they all marched to the U.S. embassy, not to vote, not to march against the United States,
Mhm.
but to show their support for Donald Trump.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
they
And
because
and what were they carrying?
I
The
didn't see
American
that.
flag,
Yeah.
and they were
Oh, yeah.
singing the national anthem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It was I just read the story probably about 20 minutes before you sent me the text, or
Right?
that it was time to. I thought, oh, I looked at the time. I thought, yep, time to get ready. But yeah, uh, wonder how that's. Mason says, I wonder how that's going to work for Hong Kong. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Uh, I think that's going to be a wait and see. I
Yeah.
still say that, to me, Hong Kong and Taiwan should be one country.
Yeah. I
And
I I agree.
you know,
Mhm. Yep.
but you know,
But
not for us to say.
now the United Nations is so far to the left. They'll say, "Well, you can't do that. You're part of the mainland now. The British gave you guys back to China." They said, "Well, we're not going to renew our lease on Hong Kong."
Yeah,
So they'll figure a way to screw the people of Hong Kong. You
yeah,
know.
yeah.
And then what will end up happening is a lot of those, especially the wealthy ones, they're going to flee the place. They're going
Oh
to say,
yeah.
screw this. We're going to
Yep.
take as much of the money that we have, transfer it over to some foreign bank, and get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you can't blame them. I
Yeah,
mean, uh, but where will we be getting our DJI drones from if that
yeah.
happens, though?
You
You
know.
know, see, this is
Mhm.
what people don't understand. Is they get mad at Donald Trump for the way he's cracking down with the DJI stuff, or the way the government is, and they blame it on Trump.
Right,
And yeah, there's some politics involved, but the politics also has to do with the democracy of things,
right.
because you know, uh, hang on a second here.
Alrighty.
I just lost my train of thought. No, it's that's what's going to happen. Uh, Part of the reason he does this is, like, all right, let's get some competition here in the States. Let's start
Right.
producing our own stuff instead of depending on a country or a city like Hong Kong.
Uh-huh.
It's actually a state, but
Yeah.
uh, instead of depending on them for bringing us all our technology, we need to start developing our own, because the communists are going to crack down eventually
Yep.
and do what they always do,
Mhm.
and destroy it. You know,
You know, I'm not a fan of tariffs. I think they eventually will raise the price of consumer goods. But here's the thing: Donald Trump is doing this because he's trying to make uh, uh, the trade fairer.
right?
Because
Yeah,
they're buying a lot of their stuff, but they're not buying a lot of our stuff.
right. Yeah,
So we're trying to get that balance back. And if you ever notice when Trump even says, "Well, we're going to put uh, tariffs on Chinese goods," and then the Chinese are like, "Oh, what the comrades, come here, come here." And they all
yeah,
get together. You say,
yeah,
"Okay, how about this deal?" And then he's able to get them to come to the table and work out a deal.
yeah.
You know?
Because the difference
Then
is between him and our last few presidents is they know he'll do it.
yep. Mhm. Mhm.
I mean, this is a man that is. I mean, everything he's done is for this country,
Yeah.
whether people appreciate that or not.
Mhm.
He's done it because he did not need this job.
Mhm.
I mean, he could have sat back and enjoyed his business, enjoyed his millions, retired, and sat back and just had a good
Yeah,
time, jet around the world
yeah, and not have to deal with all
with.
this baloney. You know, he
Yeah,
didn't need to
he's
do this.
putting up with crap that most of us, well, none of us would put up.
Yep.
You know, I here's my thing. Uh, for all those people out there that are judging him and giving him a hard time, how about each one of you get up off your dead asses and go out there and run for president yourself?
Yeah. Hmm.
That's what I think.
Yep. Oh, I the other day I posted a painting that somebody uh, made. You know, it's kind of a parody on Washington crossing the Delaware, only it's Trump shining the light of truth and prosperity over the swamp.
Yeah,
And they've got Donald Trump, you know, in Washington's place, and Pence
right.
holding the flag,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all the cabinet members doing their part. And I posted that, and one of my friends from Michigan, she went to school, my high school, about 8 or 10 years before I went there, and she's married to our baseball coach, our high school baseball coach,
Oh,
cool guy. Anyway, she says, "Well, I've been voting Republican all my life, and this year I'm voting Democrat." And I'm like, God, he said he would release his taxes. I said, why do we need to see his tax? Well, he promised. And
well,
how
here's what
about
you
that
do.
wall? He said that Mexico was going to pay for the wall. Well, he's building it, isn't he?
Yeah,
So,
here's the thing. Ask her to send you a copy of hers and her husband's taxes for the last 5 years. Tell her you
yeah.
want to see them.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
nobody's damn business,
Yep. And
public
also,
office or not.
it,
You
it
know,
this
there.
this would open up Trump to a lot more headache if he did that.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Democrats will say, "Oh, look at this! He did this. Well, that's just not fair."
You
But
want to know something? His taxes are real easy.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, I want to show what.
oh yeah, go
Yeah,
post that.
yeah. Uh, let's see. Not even that. How about everyone you dumbass Congress and their damn
Oh,
jobs? They're elected to do the work of the people, not their political party, and that's it. That's
mhm,
exactly it. These people have forgot what what their jobs are.
mhm,
Uh, that is spot on, Steve.
uh,
That's the thing. Uh, I again, I say, here's the thing. He obviously hasn't done anything illegal in his taxes. Maybe he's like every other businessman. He's found ways to get around some of it, but
yeah,
he still pays a huge amount of money in taxes. You know, how many of us have, you know, get a tax return back each year, a
yeah,
tax refund, you know,
refund, yeah,
yeah. Okay. So you paid taxes. Most of the people think that I'd say that at least I'm going to say about 60% of the people that get these tax returns just think it's money that's owed to them. They
uh-huh.
don't realize that was money they paid in and they
They
didn't have to pay it
overpaid.
off. They
Yeah,
overpaid it and got it back.
hmm,
Well, the difference is he doesn't get a friggin' return. He pays money in because he makes over a certain amount of money and he doesn't get what tax breaks he does get. It's just to keep from paying more, not, but he still pays more than I pay, pays
yeah.
more than, I'll bet everybody here, well, maybe not Steve. Steve might pay on the same level as Donald Trump, but
Well, plus he's taking advantage of all the breaks he can
yeah,
to lower his tax burden. You know,
yeah,
like depreciation is probably one of the biggest items that helps a lot of business.
right.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's it. You're right, Steve. They're all scared. losing their jobs.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And this is the problem. This has been the most. I mean, when was the last time we actually had a budget in place? I mean, how long has it been since we've had a working budget?
A balanced budget or
No, just a budget that was voted on, not an extension, but an actual budget that was presented, voted on, and approved. When was the last time we had one?
it's probably going all the way back to the Bush administration, where when the Democrats took over, they were holding up funding, and
Yep.
it was just one continuing resolution
Yeah.
after another to keep the
We
government
haven't had we haven't had a budget, I know, in what 12 years now, or almost 12 years.
right.
You know, I mean, we're working on borrowed money. And they keep saying, "Well, he's driving up." Yeah, you take every legal tax, and as do all of us. And but I'm not going to ask Steve for his income tax return.
Right.
It's none of my damn business. Just like it's none of theirs. You know, and here's the thing: the IRS has it. They've looked at it, and they haven't brought charges against him, and they knew what it was before he ran for president. So, and they haven't brought it. So this bullcrap that these people that say they voted Republican, and no offense to your friend, but that's just bullcrap. Oh, is Mitch leaving? Okay. All
Oh,
right, Mitch, you have a good one, buddy.
I think before Obama budget was passed in full, not just, oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But he thinks before Obama a budget was passed in full, not just extensions. Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, back to
Uh,
the Bush administration.
jet 43. Yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's this is these guys in Congress are just, put it the way my dad used to say about some of them. They're worthless as tits on a boar hog.
Yeah, yep.
You
And
know.
and a lot of the budget is on automatic pilot.
Yeah.
Like all the entitlements are all on automatic
Yeah.
pilot. And when they when they have these political ads saying, "Well, so and so voted to cut taxes," no, 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 they just cut the rate of growth. They didn't actually cut the taxes. They still got more money than they did the year before. So it's not
Yeah.
a tax cut. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I know, and I've of course, my son, he's a chief of police, and he has to deal with. Uh, we do need a term limit on politics, but anyway, he's got to deal with a budget every year,
Yeah.
and he gets to the end of the year, and has excess. Well, that's discretionary spending that he can use for upgrading, say, their security systems
Right.
on the campus, or more training for the officers. He's real big on. That's a wonderful thing about the type of work that Oklahoma, they have a certain amount of refresher training every year. They have to have like 8 or 16 hours of
Mm-hmm.
college training every year, just to keep, because from security guards that don't carry a gun all the way up to a chief of police,
Right.
they all have to go through training, and they have to go through the same thing. It's just that when you get, there's different levels. You've got what they call non-commissioned, which are your security guards. You
Right.
have armed or unarmed, armed, and then you go to your commissioned, which is your police officers.
Mm-hmm.
And they've all got to go through the same
Right.
law enforcement training programs.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not to the extent, because some of it isn't covered under their particular field, but they've got to do that. And this is oh, I did it again. I got off on a tangent.
Well,
I was going. Oh, the budget. Yeah, he had to learn how to do a budget, and at the end of that time, if he hasn't spent it, he's not going to get a raise the next year. He's going to they're going to say, "Hey, you didn't use it all last year. We're going to cut your spending,"
hmm
which is to me is sort of self defeating in a lot of ways.
yeah. hmm
Uh, they if nothing else they should take and we have and because it's he works for the state and we have a balanced budget here in Oklahoma.
Yep.
They if they what they need to do is roll that back in to the next year's budget.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if his
I. hmm You.
anyways, yeah,
You
but
are right, Lloyd. That's the way it should be. All right. Well, we managed to do a little over an hour, and so another good show in the can. So I'm going to be busy trying to line up some more good guests on the show. And this is the thing I like about StreamYards. It makes it a little easier to bring other guests on
yeah, yeah,
where vMix, if I upgrade to the next level, I can only bring one other guest. But that might be a good thing for my other show that I do on Saturdays.
right. Yeah, I'm tossing up whether to upgrade vmix or because right now Zoom is working really good to bring guests in, you
Oh,
know
okay.
and
But
you know
don't you have to pay a subscription like $20 a month or something?
no, I mean, because you think about it. All right, if you do an hour show, you can do 40 minutes with the Zoom without having to pay.
Right,
Okay. And I can't remember what it is. I pay for it because I like Zoom that much. I can bring in as many as I want.
right.
But you can bring in so many guests and you can have so many conferences at a time, But yeah, because if you bring in a guest and you have let's say you have like I have Mel for a co-host, I
Right.
bring in a guest. Mel and I are going to talk about what we're going to talk about, and then I'll bring the guest in
hmm
later. So this they're not going to be there the whole hour,
hmm That's
like
true.
what Ken does.
Yeah,
Uh,
and Kim does that as well, and that's what I'm thinking about doing. But you just gave me a good idea. All right, folks, remember the new 20-hour limit per month on free accounts? Oh, that's true. That's true. So,
are they cutting down the amount of hours a month you can use?
wow. So we might have to
We may have to.
do something a little different with the
Right,
arts
right.
place next year.
Yeah,
Okay. So, well, thanks for the heads up, Steve. Uh,
yeah,
I want to thank all you folks who came in to look at to watch our show and listen to dogs barking in the background.
yep,
And how many show? Well, other than Lloyd's show and Mel's show, do you hear dogs barking in the background? At least
yeah,
on Ken, you can hear the train going by.
yeah. There's that.
So thanks again, and we'll meet you back next week. God bless America, and God bless this great state of Colorado. See you all next week. Bye bye.
Bye, bye, everybody.
I gotta try it again. Bye again. And we'll work this time. And I got it. What is going on? It's not letting me in the broadcast. There, I think what
No, we're still live.
Mason says, and I keep pressing the button and pressing the button. I want to end the show, StreamYard. and and it's okay. All right, let's just talk for a few minutes and then we'll try again. So, yeah, so we're gonna work on
StreamYards is not cooperating, huh?
yeah. So we're
It. I wonder if it's in relation to where that new control room is. You may have to go to YouTube and end the stream
oh okay. All right, I'll do
because
that.
you can do that. Just go to your YouTube control panel and end it that way.
Okay, let's. Alrighty, here's what I'm. Uh, okay, so go to my channel.
Yeah, you want to go to your studio.
Okay, so YouTube studio. Yeah, that's they make it hard. Come on. Okay.
Oh, Steve said there's only 2 days left on the
Uh,
uh, to get the discount for the yearly thing. Yeah,
oh, I see.
yeah. That's
And
been very okay.
oh, it says I'm offline. Huh.
Well, let me check.
Yeah, I went over to. Wait a minute. What?
No, you're still online.
Okay. How do I? Oh, you know what?
Yeah,
And
Steve says we're still live. Are we? Yeah, it's still showing live on my side too.
I don't know what's going on. I can't
Oh,
get
well,
back.
you know what you can do. Of course, it'll kill the stream instantly. Is you can go up and click the X. You should be able to down at the bottom. It says Leave Studio, a red
Oh,
X.
there
If
we
you're
go. Okay, we'll do that then.
Yeah, and that should kill it, and then I'll leave it, and that'll fix it. All right, and I'm leaving the studio, folks. This was Arch Place. Join us again next week for fun.
while. Oh, okay, now this is just not working. Okay, folks, I'm going to have to pull the plug. Okay, I'll do that, Steve. Yeah, let's see if I can refresh the. Okay, I'm frozen up. Okay, it's not letting me do it. Okay, so I'm just gonna. It's not letting me close out. Okay, I'm just gonna